Good morning. I'm back on live. Thank you all for joining. I'll get started with my Wealth Wednesday calls. This is my second Wednesday here. Make sure to follow me on social medias. My name is Corey Phillips, founder and CEO of Social Storm LLC. And I'll be doing these Wealth Wednesdays to educate people about financial literacy, entrepreneurship for economic development. So continue to like, subscribe, follow my social medias, Facebook, Twitch, Instagram, all those different things, and we'll get started with this live. So make sure to share it to your friends and family, and then we'll go from there. Make sure to use this information for informational purposes only. Just continue this consult with a financial advisor before you make any investment decisions, and we'll continue to go through this show as we navigate through this market. So a little bit about myself. I started investing when I was 16 years old, when I started working at Walmart, and then now I work with different colleges, universities, nonprofits across the country, teaching young people about investing in the stock market. So we will get started today. I'll go over my first topic. There's a lot of things going on within the economy, within the world. So we want to be able to continue to navigate and how we can continue to build wealth for a while. For those joining, let me know how you all are feeling in the chat, and then we'll continue to navigate and share this information. So I see everyone who's currently on. In a second. Okay. Yeah, so everyone is on. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is right now it's important to look at the different things that's happening. Just kind of have to build your mindset before you even start building wealth. People want to get started about how they can make $1 million, how they can continue to be a multimillionaire, but most people have to understand what it takes to actually just build up that basic foundation. Most people can't even come up with $1,000 if an emergency came up. So before people can become a millionaire, they have to become a thousandaire and understand the mindset of someone becomes building wealth. If someone doesn't have the capacity to build wealth, they cannot. It doesn't matter how much money they make if they don't know how to keep it. That's why you see a lot of people in the lottery. You see a lot of NFL players, athletes, NBA players, people who didn't have that financial capacity to build wealth. No matter if they got millions and millions of dollars in their contracts, they didn't know how to actually manage the money, how they can actually build the money, and how they can be able to sustain the money. So that's something that's important that people need to understand, that if you're someone who has a $50,000 a year job but understands where to put their money, there'll be someone that's considered wealthy compared to someone that make seven figures but doesn't understand where to put their money, overspends, and doesn't know where to put to how actually go build wealth, knowing what difference between assets and liabilities, knowing being able to have that mindset of being able to not be a consumer, but be someone who's a creator and also who owns assets. So the value creation principle is understanding the different value between people and society. Your income reflects what type of value you provide to the world. If you're someone who works a regular W-2 job, theoretically, you want to be able to understand that in order to become $1 million, you have to stop trading your time for money, but make your money work for you. That's something you can't get by just maybe working an hourly wage. You have to be able to use the hourly wage to transport that into a different investment vehicle, whether that's real estate, whether that's stocks, whether that's yourself, whether that's any one of those things, or a business. It just takes, you have to be able to put that into something where, for me, I started when I was working at Walmart. I realized that I cannot make my money become work for me if I'm just spending it on things like just clothes, shoes, video games, things like that. I have to be able to put my money into different things like stocks, real estate, commodities, assets, things like that. So you have to be careful of what is actually an asset. Your asset is something that you put your money into that you can get a greater appreciation on at a later date. People think your assets like real estate, stocks, real estate versus cars and luxury clothes. So real estate can be an asset if someone invests or has your home. Most Americans have the majority of their wealth tied up in their house. home ownership is one of the biggest determinations of wealth in this country. So people who are able to own versus rent are able to build up equity and build up appreciation. But people don't know that home can actually be a liability if they own too much house. So that's what a lot of people end up making it. So if it becomes more than 1/3 of your income, then your house is actually a liability, because you don't want to spend all this money on a house and not really have any money left over to actually do things outside of that, whether that's being able to go and do other things like have more money to invest, whether that's to go and travel, whether you still have to live. You don't want to be a house rich and cash poor. So that's something that a lot of people need to take into consideration. Another assets like stocks, uh, commodities, crypto, owning a business, many other things like that. That's another avenue people can own. And liability, people think cars. Cars are just are liabilities. A car is not an asset. So people need to understand that the people that are actually wealthy within this country don't drive ultra luxury cars. They're the people that drive regular everyday vehicles, because at the end of the day, your car depreciates the second it goes off that lot. And you can, instead of putting that money into a car, you can put that into something such as stocks, real estate, save up for a house, or start a business. Um, Understanding that it's very important to have multiple streams of income as well. You want to be able to just be able to save up that nest egg and whatever that is, before people start investing. They should be able to have 6 months to a year of savings before they even start, because life happens. You know that you can be able to might have a flat tire. You might have to replace a washing machine. You might have to replace a dryer. But if you're able to have that savings account, you're able to not have to worry if you were to lose your job or things come up. You can use that savings account for it. And then after that 6 months to a year, you want to be able to start investing. Be able to have a 50-30-20 rule, put 50% towards your needs, 30% towards your wants, and 20% towards your savings. So 50% your needs, your mortgage, your house payment, your clothes, you still have to eat, you have to drink, things like that. 30% goes towards your wants. You still want to be able to enjoy life. People still want to go out to eat with some time, maybe travel, save up for a vacation. They might want to go to the movies, things like that. You still want to live your life. Most people, investing takes a lot of sacrifice, but I know a lot of people still say they want to live. But the more sacrifice you make at a young age, or whenever part of your life, that could be the biggest decision on changing the trajectory of where you'll be. So that's one thing people can say. I can say, oh yeah, just invest 80% of your income, but not. But most people don't have that type of capacity for that. So that's one way to go. And then 20% towards your savings, which is investing in a savings account. You can put, whether that's retirement, a brokerage account, whatever type of vehicle that people can own, like 529 plan for college. You can own a high yield savings account, which you can use for healthcare related expenses. Roth IRAs, which is individual retirement accounts, 401ks, which you can match with your job. There's many other different investment vehicles which people can use depending on their circumstances and understanding the risk to reward and tax benefits for that. So it's important to understand that a lot of people just need to be able to have that type of versatility, not just rely on your job, but be able to have multiple avenues where people that can come from in order to build wealth. So that's very important. One thing that I need to understand is that leverage is the biggest thing that you can utilize in business. People think about just when something comes up and they want to be able to look at different opportunities within the market. Is that leverage is what separates the wealthy from the working class, and the market conditions require different smart timing within seeing what's happening. Right now, you look at the current outlook of the market. The Fed, Jerome Powell, the current Fed chair, said they're potentially going to drop interest rates in the month of September. Like they said in 2025, that we were supposed to drop interest rates about 2 times this year. And potentially September will be one of those days where we continue to drop interest rates, which can be a good time for the economy, and making cash cheaper to borrow, for the short term at least. Make it cheaper to borrow for the short term and be able to increase these margins. Let alone understand that we haven't had the different Trump tariffs go into account. We haven't had too much of the data come in yet. So we have to put that into consideration and understand that we have to see some of these earnings for some of these companies to see how they're doing. But you want to understand as a month of September, average rate of return in September and August is 0.9%, which is usually one of the worst times in the year for investing due to the cycles of business, profit, tax loss harvesting, businesses taking profits and recirculation of dollars, and then people getting off of vacation coming out of the summer months. So be able to leverage for stable cash flow and assets and just continues that, not speculation. Look at this is something that's very important. You want to have different types of leverages. You want to have like financial leverage as they continue to cut rates, understand which type of industries are going to be affected by the markets and what type of people, type of ways, whether it's getting real estate, making it easier to get down payment on properties and get better interest rates, whether that's getting into different companies that are benefiting off of lower interest rates and things like that. Be able to understand that now in today's society, it's more important than ever to understand how to have a specialized skill, utilize that towards the marketplace. Like people, like I said, having more than one source of income is important. So whether that's using that to start a business, using that to continue to give yourself more opportunities, so that you can utilize some of these systems and structures like artificial intelligence to create automated systems so that you can continue to utilize that to grow your business. For me, I run Social Storm while being a full-time student. So we curate events all throughout the Chicagoland area, and people book me at university, schools, nonprofits to be able to continue to do different events and things like that, do different speaking engagements. So that's one thing that I do all the time as we speak. So continue to use that information to make your life and build systems versus doing everything yourself. Everyone thinks you have to become wealthy by yourself, but in reality, you need other people around you to become successful. That's what I did with my company, Social Storm. Instead of me doing things by myself, I'd be able to bring a team of like-minded individuals who can help me elevate. And that's the same thing you should do with your life, is have people that can push you to the next level of where you want to be. Another opportunity is to be able to leverage your network. Your network is your net worth. So if you're around people who are 9 broke people, you'll be the 10th. If you're around 9 people who are able to accelerate to a new level of life, then you'll be that next person. So continue to utilize your circle and be around people that's going to continue to elevate you, because when you get to the top, you need to be able to cut out those people who are going to pull you back, people that doubt what you're doing, people that don't help you grow what you're doing, people that don't help push you to new heights. You have to be able to push those people out and bring people to new levels that will bring you to new rooms, bring you to new atmospheres, bring you new perspectives. The second you stop learning is the second you stop growing. So it doesn't matter what age you are, whether you're 50, 60, or you're 20 years old. It doesn't matter. You still have to be able to learn from different people. You can learn from different perspectives, and I don't care what they say. You need diversity in mindsets and skill sets in order to be successful. You need to be able to have people with different backgrounds, different ideas, and different expertise to be able to learn from each other, so you can be able to become a better, well-rounded person and be able to be a better leader overall in general. So that's don't never be too adamant to never learn from other people, because you can learn from those people that you might least expect. So I'm gonna mention some of these different wealth building ladders. Is just having, like I mentioned, you want to be able to learn how you can actually go and build your wealth within your family. So there's different stages that people have to continue to go. So there's the part where you have to have that strong financial foundation, like I mentioned before, having like a high yield savings account, which is like a money market, get 4%, because instead of having your money in a regular savings account, you get less than 0.00001%, which is going down every year to an inflation, because the value of money, time value of money, the money today is going to be worth more than the money tomorrow due to inflation and then the rising cost of goods. So you might as well put it into something that gets you interest as you utilize it, as it's saving. So it's working for you, even if it's not in the stock market. Be able to, like you said, have basic budgeting and saving, and then be able to have type of investment account where you can be able to you put your funds and have that work for you. Um, the next setup that people can have is to accelerate their investments, just automate your investments into different types of things like ETFs, which is like a basket of companies, or index funds. They're both a basket of companies. The difference between those is the amount of the management fees that you pay between them, but make sure your management fees are low. But like I look at things like the S&P 500 or the NASDAQ, which is like the top S&P 500 is top 500 U.S. companies by market cap in many different industries, from healthcare, from finance, from real estate, from consumer staples, many different industries. Instead of saying, I don't know what company I want to invest in, I don't know Apple, I don't know Tesla, I don't know Microsoft, I don't know Google, I can own all of them through those different type of companies. So be able to have those different that index funds of diversification so that regardless of what happens, you have stocks, commodities, bonds, money market. So then regardless of where the economy goes, you can still have a diversified portfolio. The second one is be able to continue even get into the point where you can learn about real estate. There's a thing called real estate investment trusts, which are REITs, where if you don't have to own a physical building, or you don't have the capital yet to buy real estate, you invest in different funds like real estate investment trust, where you can continue to own like small shares of real estate companies that invest in real estate. So getting that type of exposure, you should have a lot of dividends. And then you can also be able to start some sort of business. And more people continue to get out of work through the artificial intelligence. You have to be able to create value to people. Either create some sort of system or structure, or be able to create some sort of have a specialized skill set and community. That's most important in this year in society as things become more automated and people become replaced through automation. It's most important to have that personal connection. And each and every person has their own story to tell, but most people are just listening to other people's stories. So with your own personal business, your own ideas can be able to be in your own authentic voice that you can share to the world and provide value to people to help change people's lives. And people say they want to be a millionaire and billionaire, but you have to be able to solve $1 million problems, $1 billion problems if you want to get to that standpoint. So think of what type of problems in the world are continuing changing and look at how you can solve that. Look at these companies like NVIDIA. NVIDIA is the pinnacle of the AI revolution right now. They're the ones to provide the chips for every single company that needs to build these data centers. And they look at the people that build an infrastructure around it. Facebook has over 2 billion users. Look at Microsoft owns 49% of ChatGPT. Look at Apple, who has a whole entire integration of data and systems that's not even reliance on their iPhones. But look at what type SpaceX sending rockets all the way out to outer space, and reusing them 20 different times. It depends on all these different valuations is based off of what the future value is for the company and then their cash flow and then their projected value. But for you, you understand what type of value can you provide to the world in your unique way so that you can be a successful entrepreneur and have that mindset to become successful. The next part, level 3, is business building. If people want to build a business, have multiple streams of income, they have it like businesses that they can scale. And understand a lot of different about the tax system. The tax system in the United States was built for business owners. It wasn't built for W-2 employees, unfortunately. They basically give tax to give incentives for people to do certain things for the economy. Instead of someone who might be a W-2 worker and they might be renting, they're not going to get a tax incentive for the same person that might be building a multi-million-dollar complex because they're providing housing that the United States doesn't have to provide. So the United States government gives them incentives for providing real estate for people. So looking at the system, if you start a business, start an LLC, and you get tax benefits for that, which is what incentivizes people to do things. That's the reason they have the tax system. So theoretically, if someone by the government technically is a W-2 employee, they're not taking the risk because they're being employed by someone else who took the risk by starting the business, which you may or may not say, who knows what that means over the long run for people, but that's how the tax system is made. And then the fourth level is wealth preservation. So people know how to make money, they know how to scale the business, but they don't know how to pass it down to the next generation. You need to be able to learn what a trust is. People think about wills, but if people have a will and they have their assets, um, they pass away, they're going to get taxed. The capital gains tax on their properties, like their real estate, their stocks, things like that. And a lot of people end up not knowing how to pay. They can't really afford the taxes, and they end up getting screwed. And they might lose the house. They might pay a lot of money in taxes, things like that. If you have a trust, you can be able to pass that money down tax free. What the ultra wealthy do is the buy, borrow, die method, where they continue to buy assets. They borrow against the assets, and they pay themselves back from their own loan. And then they continue to eventually to the point where they die, and then they pass down their assets tax free to their kids at a level up basis. So that's how the ultra wealthy basically put their assets down tax free. You want to build up that legacy and continue to find different ways how these people move and how you can operate that within your own life. Whether that's starting a type of retirement account, we can use grow your money tax free. Whether that's starting a business and be able to have your business start owning different assets like your car, like get taxed off for different business vacations, being able to go and utilize that and have that mindset that you can be strategic in a legal way and setting up your business, setting up your life so that you can minimize that tax burden, especially once you increase that income. But the most important thing is having that mentorship so you understand how these different things go. Continue to build that up as you go and live your life buying more assets instead of liabilities so you can continue to build that wealth for generations to come. One of some wealth killers that a lot of people should avoid. It's like there's a lot of different market conditions that are creating new wealth traps that people can continue to avoid. The first thing I have on my list right now, the top 7 wealth killers right now, is just having concentration. You're overly concentrated in just U.S. equities, like tech companies. Then you have that exposure and risk to reward ratio, which if you have all your eggs in one basket, that's something that you really don't want to do. You don't want to have 100% in something, because if that goes down, your whole portfolio goes down. Number 2 is you don't want to be emotional investing. Take emotions out of investing, and the rest of it becomes easy. You don't want to have FOMO of missing out I missed out on all these different stocks. I want to buy the all-time high. No, just wait for the stocks to go down and then continue to dollar cost average your position to something lower so that you can continue to get these stocks at a discount. Just how we get shoes, we get clothes, we all go to the shelves on Black Friday and buy shoes, clothes, and all these different things. So you have to do the same things with stocks and businesses and assets and just hold it for long periods of time. Number 3 is timing the Feds. We have NVIDIA reporting today, and people think about, whoa, should I buy NVIDIA today? What should I do if the stock market, they drop interest rates, or wonder what they're going to do with all that? At the end of the day, you cannot time the markets. It's impossible. If someone says that they can, they're lying. You can go off of all that is off of speculation. Over the long term, it does not matter what's the current earnings report is. It doesn't matter what the current Fed rate is. Over the long run, the stock market has remained resilient through war, through conflict, through economic hardships. It has always repeated and came back 100% of the time. So do not try to time the market. Do not try to say, oh, the stock market is going to lose money. If you invest in good quality companies that are changing the GDP, changing the world, that are going to be around, then you can continue to see a lot of growth moving forward. Of course, there will be risk, but the biggest risk is not having your money work for you. The biggest risk is having you be in a position where you can't provide for your family. The biggest risk is you not being able to take control of your life and where you want to be. The real opportunity is in ownership. You cannot sit on the sidelines and not take no risk. You want to become successful, because no one's going to hand it to you. You have to be able to start it within yourself, having that mindset that you want to be able to grow. And a lot of this is not about understanding everything, but it's understanding the discipline, understanding the perseverance, understanding what it takes to really become wealthy. The mindset is what helps build people up, not the amount of money. Do not go off for leverage without understanding. Being able to be someone who says, I want to do stock options, I want to do day trading, I want to get rich quick. You cannot get rich quick in investing. 90% of day traders lose money. If you're someone who doesn't understand the market and the different type of fundamentals, then you'll be able to be someone going off the speculation and not have that mindset to become a successful trader. You want to understand what is the most important, and that is you having that mindset, like I mentioned. Another thing is being able to have lifestyle inflation during bull markets. It's like something that you'd be able to, every time someone asks, what if the stock goes up, and when do you sell? My mindset is that I am not going to sell. My mindset is I'm going to hold these assets for long periods of time, and that I'm going to continue to utilize it. Even if it does go up, I'm just going to sell it and put it into another asset. Do not sell your companies, your equities, and use it to buy a car or use it for something like a vacation. Just utilize it and reinvest it back into something so you can truly build wealth. Be able to have that discipline and 50-30-20 rule, like I mentioned earlier, and be able to, as you make more income, do not spend more. Use that excess money to invest more money or invest in different investment vehicles. Do not utilize that to buy liabilities, because was that car that you bought 10 years ago worth it? Was that expensive $120 steak every week worth it? Was buying off, do you really need 5 different Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime? Do you need all of those different accounts? Do you really need to go and buy an expensive purse every single day, every single month? Do you really need a new pair of shoes every single season? A lot of these different things is that if you put yourself in perspective of saying that you have no money to invest, look yourself in the mirror and say, you can either do 2 things. You can either find ways to make more money, or you can find ways to decrease some of these expenses and liabilities that you have in your life. It's very important to understand that you need what it takes to become wealthy, and knowing that you believe that you believe in yourself to do it. Successful investors, like I mentioned, just have their strategies in the current conditions rather than just using generic advice. A lot of people look at people talk about investing that don't even have investments themselves. You want to be able to understand what the current outlook is of the world, that how you can navigate that to move forward. Right now, there's a 82% chance, like I mentioned, that the Fed will cut rates in September. But there's only 42% that the rates can follow up. But rate cuts paradoxically increase longer term rates. So moving forward, we'll see where that goes. Right now, if you're someone who wants to get started, be able to have that into different REITs, ETFs, things like that, that outperform when the rates start cutting, and then basically rebalance your portfolio when we see existing debt. So a lot of things we have to consider right now is inflation. See what the results is from inflation, so we can see how we have to navigate that moving forward. Look at many of the tech valuations as we continue to grow up. The AIs continue to run the U.S. Stock market as we go forward. We see the top Magnificent 7 like Apple, Microsoft, Google, NVIDIA, Tesla. Those stocks have been running up. They're about 30% of the U.S. Stock market, have almost doubled over the last couple of years. While you look at a lot of small cap companies in the rest of the United States, has actually been very flat at the U.S. stock market. So you see an ultra concentration of money being moved in those top few companies in the U.S. economy. Look at a lot of these companies that have good profit margins. A lot of companies have good market shares that continue to have strategic partnerships that can help push them towards the future. NVIDIA is such an exceptional company that it's continuing to dominate this artificial intelligence wave, and we have to continue to look at those companies that are in partnership with them. For people, just let me know what type of things you're looking to. You can utilize different skill sets. Like myself, I got started doing investing. You can learn a skill and be able to monetize that towards different people, whether that's public speaking, whether that's creating a consulting company, whether that's selling a tool, That's something that you can continue to monetize in this new economy, digital products and course creations, of course, and then be able to do speaking opportunities. Also start integrating artificial intelligence as well and automated different systems within your business, and then utilize social media to build your brand. And I talked to a lot of people. They want to market themselves, but they never promote themselves. The reason that you're not reaching your sales goal is not because your product's not good. It's because you're not reaching enough people. Because sales is a numbers game. The more people you reach out to, the more people that you're able to book and make more revenue within your business. And then also partner with different people on different projects. No matter how much people say they want to do stuff by themselves, the most successful businesses are the people who collaborate and know how to find people that can build each other up and basically win-win for both relationships. Leverage other people's audience, because audience and community is most important. The biggest thing that you have is your own story over these big corporations. So don't let all this fool you that no one has your own story, no one has your own unique personality. And that's what people feel in this age of automation, is they want a deep connection with the person that they're with. So people can utilize to monetize off their personal story and share that to the world. Continue to learn, like I mentioned, different books. If you're someone who doesn't like to read, learn an audiobook. If you're someone who likes to go to a different business conference. I just went to a conference with over 25,000 people this past weekend. So I'm always learning, putting myself in people who can push me to new heights. And people, we live in this world like we can learn all this information, but if you don't know how to apply it, then it doesn't make a difference. We have people that go to school, people that go to work, people that learn all this stuff about stocks and investing, but if people don't know how to execute, then they're not going to become successful. We have people that are amazing with social media, amazing with all these different things, but don't know how to actually implement it. And that's with this word of AI. Everyone can learn, is an expert on something nowadays with AI, but people don't know how to actually think and how to make decisions off of the information that they see at a deeper level. So focus on implementation, because that's the most important thing that can change your life. So just find a way that you can use a skill in 3 different ways you can monetize this week. Just knowing that it's very important that you mentioned is a lot of people right now is the reason that you are where you're not where you want to be is because you have all these ideas, you have all this information in a world where it feels almost impossible to get there. But consistency is what's continue to build every single time. You want to, as far as investing, and consistency is what beats timing every single time. It's just you have to have financial discipline, starting with little as $25 a month, $5, $10, whatever. Just start. All the things that you see on social media about expensive cars, expensive homes, all these different things, it's not a reality. It's only a highlight reel. You want to be able to be educated instead of entertained. Be able to look at don't look at the news out every day and say that there's going to be economic hardships. There's going to be a recession. Everything's too expensive. Stop complaining and find a way to solve a problem. Everyone's complaining about all these issues online, but no one wants to come up with a solution. The social media makes money off of people being fearful, but that's the same thing with investing. When everyone else is fearful, that's when you make the most money. Money is made in recessions when people are resilient. Knowledge compounds faster for market gains, faster than market gains. So you can be an expert at what you do, but if you're someone who just overanalyzes things that doesn't execute, it's not going to help you build wealth. Be able to have risk management, understand the risk to reward before you get into a trade or investment, knowing that if you can lose this amount of money in investing, and knowing that you're not going to pull this money out regardless of holding this position over long periods of time, in good companies. So it's important for you to have that mindset and utilize that to help continue to change your life. So before that, I'll finish this live. Make sure to follow me at Social Storm Network on Instagram at Corey Phillips 3 for different events, things like that. So you can continue to find ways to build wealth, find ways to change your life, because this world, there's so much opportunity, but so many people just don't know where to start. So we'll continue to build that network and be that forefront of where things can go. Understand that where you are, it might be tough, it might be hard. You might not know where the next opportunity may go, but know that if you have the resilience, you have the consistency, and you have the growth, then you can be able to accomplish almost anything. So take that with you, however you may see, but you utilize this information to not just understand it, but use it to execute until you can create systems and structures within your life. And start with the small things. Start with the push-ups. Start with the a small investment account. Start with the education, but just take advantage of the opportunities presented. So the fundamentals of wealth just don't change. You just have to be able to provide value in order to get there. Live below your means. Continue to diversify your money, manage risk, and keep learning. That's the biggest thing. Keep learning each and every day. Use the opportunity. Use AI not to automate your life, but utilize it to continue to expand your life. AI is not going to replace you. People who utilize AI will replace you. It don't utilize it to think for you. Use AI to help continue to build your ability to think and reason. In this world of automation, as things become more and more automated, the most valuable asset will be the ability to have consciousness and the ability to think and the ability to have community. So utilize this information so that you can continue to change your life and continue to grow as we move forward.